guys, welcome to episode 12 of the Blue Sky Lounge. I am your host, Tyler Iantkow. Now, I'm sorry that this episode has been so late, but we're up and running now. Now, today we're going to be talking about Liberty Square and a man who was dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by Providence, impoverished and squalor, who grew up to be a hero and a scholar. That's right, we're talking about the man whose name is Alexander Hamilton. Yes, it's Alexander Hamilton. This week we have Natalie joining us again, as well as Shannon, to talk about this amazing musical and how it can be incorporated into Liberty Square. Please welcome Natalie and Shannon to the show. Well, we have Shannon and Natalie with us here in the Blue Sky Lounge. Ladies, how are you doing tonight?
Good, thank you.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, let's get right into it. Our theme this week is Liberty Square with an overlay from Hamilton. Hamilton is this big force that came on Disney Plus and has been nonstop since it started. Everywhere you look, people are talking about it. Everybody loves it. And I know that you ladies are all about Hamilton. So first, why don't we start with what was it about Hamilton that got you guys into that show?
I think it was knowing how much went into the production.
Yeah.
And so, like, full disclosure, I had no interest in seeing Hamilton when it came on Disney Plus. It was Chloe that had been obsessed with it for months before that. And she was obsessed with Lin long before that and watching his other musicals. And so she made me sit down and watch it. And then I sat there realizing how long it took him and that he just wrote all of that.
Yeah.
And then it just became, maybe from a musician side of it, just jaw-dropping. Like the dialogue, how many words are in this musical, like how fast they're singing or rapping some of this stuff. And then it just became also a fascination with like the passion behind the performances. Like some of the stuff that Christopher Jackson does in his performance was just like so passionate and so amazing. That now I keep watching it again and looking for more and listening to the underlying, like something that's mentioned in one song, you don't pick up on it until later, or things about the bullet, or like it just was so well done that it just keeps me going back.
Excellent. Natalie, yourself?
Yeah, for me, it's like, it probably was the music that brought me in, because I made fun of Darren relentlessly because he was listening to it like back when it first came out on Broadway, and he was like listening to the soundtrack, and it was like nonstop. And for Darren, this is like a kind of a bizarre thing, because usually Darren's very like, I'm listening to a song and then it's on to a new song. We're all listening to the same thing over and over and over again. But he was listening to it over and over and over again. And I was making fun of him. I'm like, man, this isn't cool. I don't know what you like about it. And then he had it on a few times in the kitchen, and I would tease him. And then it's something about it brought me in. And then that was it. And we've been like, well, I guess it's probably close to like 4 years of like nonstop Hamilton. So long before Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And when we found out it was coming to London, we were like in the lottery jaw so that we could buy tickets. And then one of us got picked, so we were able to buy tickets like a year and a half in the future. It's crazy. But no, it's Lin blows me away. He's a magician in terms of what he's able to accomplish, and his storytelling is phenomenal. Like it's phenomenal. There's nothing like it. I've never seen anything like it where you can teach somebody something, because really anybody who watches Hamilton is learning something, and something pretty important, right? And he can bring you in, entertain you, and do it so eloquently. It blows me away. I love musicals, so this was a different level. So I'm gonna say it was the music and the writing behind it.
Excellent. Very cool.
Yeah.
I figured Liberty Square would be the best place to do this because it's the same time era, and Liberty Square, I feel, doesn't have a lot of characters in it. So I thought it would be really cool to have like a Hamilton overlay there, where you could have, characters from Hamilton, or it doesn't even have to be Hamilton, but like characters of that time walking around the area or interacting with that area.
No, I think that it should be Hamilton characters.
Okay.
I think that the Skylar's just should be walking around, and I think that like Burr, it should be like trying to approach them. Like I think you could totally do some on-street acting. It would be amazing.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I know Shannon mentioned it a few minutes ago before we went on air, was that it would be really cool to have, because right now they have like Cinderella's evil stepsisters on Main Street interacting with people. It'd be really cool to have their sisters from Hamilton on a stage or something performing their songs. And I think that would be really cool.
I think there's a lot you could do with it.
Right?
Yes.
So
like it's like untapped. It could be so
They
good.
could be out there living their life in Liberty Square, and we're just walking through their world.
yeah.
Yeah. it'd be good.
What kind of things would you like to see aside from the characters in a Hamilton overlay?
I would take out the Muppet Show above the windows, and I would be having a little dialogue with like Lafayette and like Burr and Hamilton, and having them pop out of the windows every once in a while and either perform a song or just have some witty banter.
Yeah.
I think that would be hilarious.
I think it would be really cool to have both Hamilton and the Muppets
interacting with.
I think you get the two intellectual properties like talking to each other, and Hamilton would be like, what is this? Like, why are these Muppets? I can't see getting rid of the Muppets. I love those shows so much, personally.
Well, it really is all, like, at least in Disneyland, that is the only part of the Muppets that's left. So I can't see them doing that. But I think to see George Washington walking around next to the bell.
Yeah.
And just, and like we were saying, like, kind of like what they've almost done in Galaxy's Edge, right? Where all of the characters, all of the cast members have been given a character they stay in for their whole shift. You are just amongst the people who are living in Liberty Square now. And, you know, they vibe off each other. They vibe off the people that are in the park, and you just get to, you could like sit and just watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that would be really cool.
It would be amazing.
Yeah.
I think you should have a restaurant too. I think you should have a like in the room where it happened restaurant.
Okay.
You could be in the room where it happened.
Yeah.
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 All right.
Then they get the
Right?
license Disney. But...
2 pints of Sam Adams or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Working on 3.
One thing that I was thinking of that would be really fun, instead of the Hall of Presidents, it would be really cool to have like a mini Hamilton show go on that stage.
Oh, yes.
It's unfortunate because Hall of Presidents does have its own historical
Yes.
thing going on, but with how big Hamilton is, I think that would be a very big hit right off the bat. But I think definitely the Streetmosphere, I think, is the best way to go. And I think I don't know, as soon as I kind of thought of this idea, the first thing that instantly came over my mind is just through the loudspeakers in the area, you just hear like a message from the king. And you just see the king walk out.
You know what? He should like be on the barge and just like float by on the
Just like seeing like somebody act out as the King of England and walk out with like this crazy ridiculous crown and like a big, you know, like cape and something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would just be hilarious to have somebody do that. I know I mentioned like taking out Hall of Presidents and putting a stage show in, but if you could build like a Hyperion theater or something, there's not a lot of space there, but if you were to try and take out something and build like a Hyperion theater or a theater.
What if they extended? What if they dipped into like Country Bear Jamboree?
Yeah, you could do that.
I think if you couldn't do a full stage show, though, I think that the Hall of Presidents does give you the space to potentially do a pre-show.
Yeah.
I think you could build on a small section where you would have like a pre-show, which wouldn't actually be terrible because you could almost set up your Hall of Presidents, because you wouldn't have your Hall of Presidents if you didn't have the whole
Just have the animatronics
revolution and
turn
everything,
around
right?
and watch the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, right?
He can stand up for his part.
Yeah.
There you go, exactly.
The other thing that would be really cool is if you did like a dinner show almost. That would be kind of cool, where you could have characters come on and
in like Epcot, I think.
Sorry?
If they took it over to America in Epcot, I feel like there's a lot more space for them to utilize over there in that.
Yeah, that's true. You could
actually, and they put a stage there too.
Yeah.
That's true. Take out the American Inventor and just put Hamilton in.
Yeah.
That would be a really good idea, actually. How cool would it be being in where Voices of Liberty is and just hear some of the raps in there? It'd be so cool.
So good.
All I can think about is like Philippa Sue singing Burn underneath that.
The dome
in there, and it would be just amazing.
Yeah. And like the Schuyler sisters and stuff. Yeah. Oh man, I want it to happen so bad.
It has so much opportunity. They could really put it in a lot of places. They could do a lot with it, and I think that it would really like add something. Like Liberty Square needs some. It needs a refresh.
Pick me up.
Yeah.
Like it needs to pick me up, and I can tell you right now that like everybody who owns Disney Plus is obsessed with Hamilton.
Yeah.
If they weren't already obsessed with Hamilton.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a logical. I think
they should do it. This is not like this is being what we're at 2015, 2016.
Honestly, like 4 years. Like I'm pretty sure Darren's listened to it for 4 years because I think it was when we moved out that he started listening. So it's like it's been a while.
Yeah.
And actually, it started before the show was even done because there were people that were catching on to the Lin bandwagon when he did his rap at the White House.
I mean, he's one of the few people that has managed to make American history fun.
Right?
I don't think it's going anywhere. That's for sure.
Going back to Liberty Square, if you could have like different characters arrive by boat to the dock there from the rivers of America, that would be cool. I still really like the idea of the king going by on a barge.
Totally.
Just like randomly walking out of a store and being like,
right?
What's up?
What's up?
Well, I really appreciate you ladies coming on. I have liked all of the ideas. I'm super excited for it. I love watching the film. I was watching it the other night while I was editing my last show. So I actually had to turn it off because I was watching it more than I was doing my work. So
well, because then you just start singing and then you can't stop. And
I was definitely like grooving along to it. And then I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to be working now. Let's finish this, then watch Hamilton.
I'm pretty sure that my girls have it on right now. They go to sleep to it every night.
Nice.
Yeah, we have it in the car on repeat on the way to school.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Living
cool.
and breathing Hamilton.
All right. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate you coming on and having this chat. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah. And Natalie, thank you for being our first return interview coming back.
That's because I love all things Disney and everything that could be associated with Disney and all the things that are even remotely close, even though.
Yeah. And you know that if you ever do a Star Wars show,
right,
I have to come back
in there.
So.
Right?
Yeah. I'm gonna be talking to you as soon as we're done this interview. So.
Which means you're coming back.
Yeah. So, excellent. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and we will talk to you guys later.
All right. Thanks, Ty.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies, for coming on to the show. Now let's hear from you, the listeners. Many people love the idea of putting Hamilton into the parks, and they had many of the same ideas that we had talked about in our interview. Jonathan and Sarah both thought that having a show replace the Hall of Presidents was a great idea. The only difference being that both of them thought that instead of having live actors perform the show, they should do audio animatronics. Now, I think that this is a great idea as well instead of using the live actors. You could have different groups of characters, like the Schuyler sisters, or Hamilton and Burr, or Washington, all pop up from below, just like how they do at the American Adventure in Epcot. Burr could still be the narrator of the show and just kind of be the segue in between the different musical numbers. And granted, yes, you cannot have a 2.5 hour show in that theater, but you could take certain aspects from the show and place them in there and still have a great show, I think. The other great thing about this idea is that it keeps that Hall of President's Theater there. It's still a place where you can go and take a break and cool down during those hot Florida days. And that's a wrap for this week's show. Join us next week for our Mandalorian episode, and don't forget to leave us your ideas of how you would like to see The Mandalorian incorporated into the parks. I have spoken. And get your thinking caps on for our show in 2 weeks when Paul and I discuss Walt Disney Resorts and what we would like to see if maybe there was a Marvel resort that were to come to Walt Disney World. If you do have any ideas for this or a future episode, please leave a comment down below or email me at theblueskylounge@gmail.com. We're also on most social media platforms by searching The Blue Sky Lounge, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. And if you do like the show, please feel free to spread the word and share this episode on different social medias. And don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts as well. Now please note that this show is not affiliated with Disney in any way. This is a fan-run show with fan ideas and artwork that is in no way any true representation of what may or may not happen in the future. Now thank you so much for joining us this week here on the Blue Sky Lounge, and please remember to think, dream, believe, and dare yourself to use your imagination. Who knows what kind of blue sky thinking you can do from your armchair. Thanks.